Assalamu everyone, welcome back to the Global Mind Voyage and our Therapies in Psychology series. In our previous lecture, we explored psychoanalysis and Sigmund Freud ideas about the unconscious mind. Today, we are moving from the hidden world of unconscious processes to something we can actually observe and measure behavior. In this lecture, we'll explore behavior therapy and discover how learning can influence behavior and how learned behaviors can be changed. Behavior therapy is a psychological treatment approach that focuses primarily on observable behaviors and the learning processes behind them. Behavior therapists believe that many behaviors are learned through interaction with the environment. Therefore, problematic behaviors can also be unlearned or modified through new learning experiences. Instead of focusing mainly on unconscious conflicts, behavior therapy focuses on what a person is doing and how that behavior can be changed. One of the central ideas behind behavior therapy is very simple. Behavior is learned. Our experiences, environment, rewards, punishments, and associations can influence how we behave. If a behavior has been learned, it can potentially be changed through a different learning experience. This idea forms the foundation of many behavioral interventions used today. Behavior therapy developed from the school of thought known as behaviorism. Important contributors include John B. Watson, Ivan Pavlov, and B.F. Skinner. These researchers helped establish the idea that behavior could be studied scientifically through observable learning processes. Their work eventually influenced the development of modern behavioral therapies. There are several ways through which behavior can be learned. We may learn by forming association between different events. We may learn because certain behaviors are rewarded or punished. We can also learn by observing other people, and of course, our environment plays an important role. In this lecture, we'll focus particularly on the conditioning. Classical conditioning is a type of learning that occurs through association. It happens when a previously neutral stimulus becomes associated with another stimulus that naturally produces a response. Eventually, the previously neutral stimulus can produce a similar response on its own. One of the most famous demonstrations of classical conditioning was conducted by Ivan Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov was a Russian psychologist who was studying digestion in dogs. He noticed something interesting. The dogs began to salivate not only when they received food, but also when they learned that food was coming. Pavlov then paired a bell with food. After repeated pairs, the dog began to salivate when they heard the bell alone. This became one of the most famous examples of classical conditioning. Let's break Pavlov's experiment down step by step. Before conditioning, food naturally causes a dog to salivate. Food is therefore called an unconditioned stimulus or UCS. The salivation that naturally occurs is called as unconditioned response or UCR. At this stage, the bell has no special meaning. During conditioning, Pavlov repeatedly presented the bell together with food. The bell was initially a neutral stimulus. Through repeated pairing with food, the dog began to associate the bell with the arrival of food. The association is the key process in the classical conditioning. After conditioning, the bell alone was enough to make the dog salivate. The bell had now become a conditioned stimulus or CS. The salivation produced by the bell became a conditioned response or CR. So, a stimulus that previously had no special effect had acquired the ability to produce a learned response. Classical conditioning isn't limited to laboratory animals. It can also help us understand certain human behaviors and emotional responses. For example, someone who experiences a frightening event in a particular place may later feel anxious when returning to that place. Similarly, certain smells, sound, or situations can become associated with particular emotions. These learned associations are important in understanding some psychological problems. Let's quickly review this part. Behavior therapy focuses on observable behavior and learning. Classical conditioning explains how associations can create learned responses. Pavlov's famous experiment demonstrated this process using dogs, food, and a bell. In the further discussion, we'll take this further and explore operant conditioning, B.F. Skinner, reinforcement, punishment, and how consequences can shape behavior. In the previous part, we learned about classical conditioning, where learning occurs through association. Now, let's look at another important form of learning, operant conditioning. Operant conditioning focuses on how the consequences of a behavior influence whatever that behavior is likely to happen again. In simple words, what happens after a behavior can affect whether we repeat it. B.F. Skinner was one of the most influential behaviorists of the 20th century. His work greatly expanded our understanding of operant conditioning. Skinner demonstrated how reinforcement and punishment can influence behavior. His research became highly influential in psychology, education, behavior modification, and therapy. Let's start with the reinforcement. Reinforcement means that consequences makes the behavior more likely to occur again. The important thing to remember is reinforcement increases behavior. Reinforcement can be positive or negative, and both can strengthen behavior. Positive and negative reinforcement are often confused. Positive reinforcement means adding something desirable after a behavior. For example, a student receives praise after studying and becomes more likely to study. Negative reinforcement means removing something unpleasant after a behavior. For example, completing a task may stop an unpleasant reminder. Remember, both positive and negative reinforcement increase behavior. Punishment is different from reinforcement. The purpose of punishment is to decrease the likelihood of a behavior happening again. Just like reinforcement, punishment can also be positive or negative. The word positive does not mean good, and negative does not mean bad. They simply refer to whether something is added or removed. Positive punishment involves adding an unpleasant consequences after a behavior. For example, a person may receive a reprimand after breaking a rule. Negative punishment involves taking away something desirable. For example, a teenager may lose phone privileges after breaking an important rule. In both cases, the goal is to reduce the behavior. Here is an easy way to remember all four concepts. Reinforcement means increase, punishment means decrease, positive means add something, negative means remove something. Once you remember these two rules, the four concepts become much easier to understand. Another important behavioral technique is called shaping. Shaping involves reinforcing small steps that gradually move a person toward a desired behavior. Instead of expecting the final behavior immediately, we reward progress along the way. This approach can be particularly useful when learning a completely new or complex behavior. Behavioral principles have many practical applications in psychology. Therapists can use behavioral techniques to help people gradually face fear, modify problematic behaviors, develop healthier habits, and learn new skills. Behavioral approaches have also been widely used in working with children and in educational settings. Behavior therapy includes several techniques based on learning principles. Exposure can help individuals gradually face feared situations. Reinforcement can strengthen desired behavior. Behavior modification focuses on changing specific patterns of behavior. Shaping helps develop complex behaviors through gradual steps. These techniques can be adapted according to the individual's need. Like every psychological approach, behavior therapy has both strengths and limitations. One major strength is its focus on specific observable behavior and measurable goals. Many behavioral techniques have also been extensively researched. However, critics argue that focusing primarily on behavior may overlook deeper cognitive, emotional, or unconscious factors. Modern therapies often combine behavioral principles with other approaches. Summarize what we learned here. Operant conditioning explains how consequences influence behavior. Reinforcement increases behavior while punishment decreases it. Positive means adding something and negative means removing something. Together with classical conditioning, these principles form an important foundation of behavior therapy. Now it's your turn. Read the situation carefully and decide whether it's represent positive reinforcement or positive punishment. Write your answers in the comment and explain why. Remember our rule, reinforcement increases the behavior while punishment decreases the behavior. Thank you for joining us for lecture 4 of our Therapies in Psychology series. Today we explored behavior therapy, classical conditioning, operant conditioning, reinforcement, punishment, and shaping. In our next lecture, we'll move from behavior to thoughts and explore the fascinating world of cognitive therapy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Global Mind Voyage. See you in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.